Sarah Bils. How you doing, Sarah?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Sarah Bils, host of DD Geopolitics. They do fantastic work. I say it every time she comes here because you guys actually do fantastic work.
Thank you.
You have a good morning so far?
You're the first thing that I'm doing this week. So, yes.
It's like, oh, I feel so special. I'm the first person that
I wake up tomorrow on Thursday.
Well, I feel your pain on Sundays. I guess Sundays for me, Saturdays.
Oh yeah. We're even. We're even. It's fine.
You're like, you look like hell. It's like, thanks
I
for that.
look like hell on Thursdays. You can look like hell on Saturdays.
Well, you never look like hell though. You're usually perky and on pace. Where should we start today? Where should we start? God, man, I don't want to hit Charlie Kirk again because we kind of beat that into the ground and people are still having a conversation. I know where I want to go. Where do you think Trump is going with this? Right here. I think this is one of the most fascist things that I've seen, at least this week. I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster. As a major terrorist organization, I will be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I hate when he says that. It annoys the shit out of me every time he writes that. So this president who came in attesting to free speech, who just got Jimmy Kimmel fired, for some, and just to show what Jimmy Kimmel said, because I don't want you guys.
Oh, good, you have it. Good.
I do have the clip. Yeah,
I watched it a few times because I was like, I'm not getting it, but
because there's nothing there to get. There's nothing there to get. But this is what Jimmy Kimmel said, and this is what got him fired. And again, keep in mind, the executives saw nothing wrong with the statement.
Right, his monologue gets approved before he goes on.
Oh, does it? He has to get it approved. Yeah. I never got my monologue approved. I just did the monologue.
Yeah,
I used to on a radio show. I was like, dude, you can't say that shit. But this is what Kimmel said. Nothing that he's saying here is problematic. This is them trying to deify, for all intents and purposes, what I consider to be an asshole. And anything that is being said, even to the smallest degree, is now they're going after. And he's using the weight of the federal government to threaten ABC or Disney, whichever one you want to poke to blame at, in order to get rid of him.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
By the way, I saw the video when that came out also.
And I said the same thing. I was like, well, he doesn't give a shit. Why do I have to?
Exactly. It's virtue signaling. They're using this as a political weapon. I guess the catch becomes using it as a political weapon for what?
That happened the day after.
Yep.
It was either the day after or the day after the day after. So it's either 2 days after or the day after. And that's literally like his reaction.
Rolling Stones, just to nail this part down, Rolling Stones points out.
Yeah, someone said Trump went golfing during his vigil. He sure did. He missed the vigil for Charlie Kirk.
Because he doesn't care. This is just a politicized device for them. In the hours leading up to the decision to pull Jimmy Kimmel, two sources familiar with the matter said senior executives at ABC, its owner Disney, and affiliates convened emergency meetings to figure out how to minimize the damage. Multiple executives felt that Kimmel had not actually said anything over the line, two sources said, but the threat of Trump's administration retaliation loomed. So the president of the United States had feelings about something.
I think that people, even the audience, are getting like really focused on the wrong thing. It's not even about what Jimmy Kimmel said. You guys understand that, right? I hate Jimmy Kimmel. I think his show is stupid. It's like boomer slop. Nobody
Agreed.
watches that crap to get news or anything like that, except for boomers that ingest slop. They fired Jimmy Kimmel to see if they could. They're consolidating power and opinion, and any dissension is going poof. That's what it is. I can't remember the congressman's name. Please forgive me. But he leads the FCC, and he's the one who twisted the screws. He twisted the screws on a company called Nexstar, which is an ABC affiliate, who then pulled ABC and said, we won't be airing you. Once that happened, ABC became in a bind because Nexstar owns a lot of stations across the United States. And so ABC was basically strong-armed into firing Jimmy Kimmel by our Congress, not by anybody else, by our Congress. Okay, so this is to show, this is also a warning to anybody else who wants to say anything about anything on TV. They could suffer the same fate. And that's what it is. It's consolidation of opinion. It's a consolidation of narrative. He didn't say anything wrong. He played Trump's own video.
Yep.
And then he went on, and after you paused, I think that another part that they're upset about is when he said, that's how a child mourns a goldfish. I think that's maybe what they were upset about. But even then, I don't understand why they're so offended.
I think it's a few things. He's ribbing Trump.
Sorry, this is the fuck your feelings party.
Well, they were
a lot of feelings.
Yeah, right. They were that party. I can show you speech after speech where Trump advanced. We're the party of free speech. We believe in free speech. And now anything, quote unquote, being defined as anti-Semitic, anything that besmirches the reputation of a guy who had a besmirched reputation, all of these things are now off limits. And they're dragging lists of trying to get people fired. Mind you, Chilamede, as I pointed out in my video the other day, was calling for the murder of homeless people in mass.
He didn't get fired.
No, he didn't get fired.
But that's the thing that you should show. Like, that's the comparison that we should continuously drive home. We have Jimmy Kimmel, who played a Donald Trump video and then kind of called, we'll say in the worst case scenario, he called Charlie Kirk a goldfish, even though he didn't. That's the worst case scenario. We have a Fox News token, excuse my language, saying, well, I don't know what to do with the homeless people. Let's just kill them. And that stands. That should tell you everything you need to know about what's going on. Because it's not about violent speech. It's not about hate speech. It's about speech we hate.
Yeah.
So that's what it's really about.
Add to that, American military in various cities across the United States. Add to that a power structure that seems to be working in line with Donald Trump, meaning they're leaning into it. I mean, is this American fascism?
Well, have you been watching? See, I have kind of just chalked it up to an ineptitude, and I don't know. I hadn't really developed a full. Sorry, it's the dog in the morning, but I haven't really developed a full opinion on this administration in terms of how it was working. I've been watching Max Blumenthal, his media appearances over the last few days. Aside from the Charlie Kirk stuff, the way he's talking about the inner workings of the admin is downright terrifying.
Explain.
He was on Judge Napolitan. No, sorry. This clip is from the InfoWars. Yes. This was the day before yesterday. He said he was going over what goes on in the background, and basically, Susie Wiles, which, I mean, I've known this, but Susie Wiles was working on Benjamin Netanyahu's 2020 election campaign. Is she still on those payrolls? We don't know. But anyways, she did work on his 2020 election campaign and helped him get reelected. And we do know that the CIA has always had a very, very big blind spot, especially in West Asia after the bombing of Beirut. They heavily rely on Mossad for their intelligence in that sector, in that AOR. Well, Ratcliffe is just basically taking notes or verbatim statements from the Mossad and then feeding them into Trump's ear.
Right.
That's terrifying. That's scary.
Yeah, Max also said something that I greatly disagree with. He pointed out on InfoWars that people that he talked to in the Trump administration said that Trump was scared of Israel and the influence that they wielded in the United States. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds like Joe Biden. Or like, meaning Randall Source comes out and says Joe Biden is doing everything in his power to get the hostages free and to end the conflict. Joe Biden is doing everything in his power to stop Israel from hitting Rafah. Joe Biden is doing everything in his power. And you find out after the fact, none of that stuff was true. It was obvious it wasn't true. But behind the scenes, it wasn't true. Or you would see Axios. Donald Trump is very angry about Israel hitting Qatar. Is he? I mean, how could he be very angry
about Charlie Kirk? You think he cares about Qatar?
No, exactly. That's my point, right? Like, I don't buy this nonsense or this idea that Donald Trump and Israel are on opposing sides, or that there is a division between them. Trump has made it very clear that he wants to get access and ethnically cleanse the area every bit as much as Israel does. So does it help to put something out saying, no, I'm only doing this because, especially when you have a lot of your supporters that have started to turn on this idea of, yeah, man, 300,000 dead babies is too much. 100,000, I was there with you, but 300,000, I can't. It's too far. It's too much. Like, if Kirk himself was turning on this issue, which according to Tucker,
exactly. But you also remember what else this is serving. This is elevating Kirk's death above the death of all others. So there's a lot of elements at work here that are like psychological elements and propaganda that's at work here. And you're exactly right about the children, that just everybody in general in Gaza. But this is elevating Charlie Kirk above all of that. That's one of the points, is to say we don't care about Palestinians. One of our own was just killed. Yeah. And it also centralizes that sort of nationalist thing where it's like, we matter. Our lives matter more than the lives in the Levant.
Yeah, I guess my feeling is that they're instituting a thought police of sorts.
Oh, I'm sure you have an idea, but oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's insane the way that they're targeting people. You knew this was going to happen. I mean, this isn't science rockets. They start to make lists. Nobody responsible is involved in making the list. There's no criteria. There's no rules for the list. It's just put somebody on here that you think did something wrong. And then the slippery slope was made and everybody went slip and sliding down the hill. Like it's like a wet dream for these propagandists. It really, really is.
Let's move to Iran for a bit. So
I don't know anything about what's going on there.
Okay.
Well, we can try.
Okay. Well, this came out. I think this came out today. Iran and the European ministers make little progress as renewed UN sanctions loom, diplomats say. So Iran apparently said, hey, we'll work with the IAEA as long as you don't put the sanctions back on. If you put the sanctions on, we're out of this. And they're trying to get they're trying to get the E3, effectively Germany, Britain, France, to push sanctions for 6 months. That's what Europe is offering. Hey, we'll push this for 6 months if you work in coordination with the IAEA. Iran is apparently being somewhat dodgy with this. It's like, yeah, we'll work with you, but we need to figure out a platform and a way in which we're going to work with you. And so the E3 nations are like, hey, we're going to put the sanctions on, with Iran's believing full well, they're probably going to put the sanctions on anyway. This is so strange to me. I understand they don't want sanctions. I get that. But I don't know. I get the sense that this is kind of like Russia, where you're kind of stuck with a model that there's no way out that box. And you're working with countries that under no circumstances.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Like, the writing's on the wall. The fate has been sealed. You can do things to kind of delay that faith and try to like make it look like you're a good faith actor. But at the end of the day, they're putting the sanctions on you. That's why we were like, you and I were both like, why are they signing this agreement? Like, they're just going to find another reason to put sanctions on, or the IAEA will give them a reason. Like, what are we doing here? And that might be one of the reasons why I haven't paid attention. Like, you let the IAEA back in after there was given it wasn't concrete. I'm sure that the Iranians had more concrete evidence than me, but we had enough circumstantial evidence that the IAEA actually probably gave them wrong information due to Palantir software being ran by the IAEA to do predictive models about what Iran was doing with their nuclear program. That's what forced the IAEA to inspect. It was a Palantir program that gave them the prediction that that they were going to develop this uranium, and then they went in. So why are we letting them back in? Are we that afraid of sanctions?
It seems like they are. I mean, otherwise, it seems like they are. Like, it seems like it's. I mean, for one, let's be honest. The JCPOA, those sanctions shouldn't be implemented anyway. Those governments were supposed to protect Iran if Iran stuck with the deal, and Iran did stick with the deal. It was the Trump administration that pulled out the deal. So right off the bat, they are flagrantly just, untrustworthy in this context. Also, they're vassals of the United States who want those sanctions back on anyway. So I don't know. In my take, it's like, you're going to get hit with this regardless. There's no way out of that box. You're stuck with this situation. And at the end of the day, you need to find ways to kind of get around the situation as it is, not, I don't know, letting an organization back in that you openly said got your scientists murdered. Yeah, but I could be wrong. I want to, what time is it? Okay, we have time. Take a look at this. This is Colin Powell moment from Poland.
Oh, yeah.
I think you know this video.
Yeah.
This is one of them. 2 days ago, they tried to target Polish homes. This is one of them in a village called Wyryki in eastern Poland. 2 days ago.
Now, what you're seeing is the gentleman from Poland trying to blame the Russians for, I guess, a missile or drone hitting a house. Sarah?
It was a
Polish missile? Yeah, did a Russian rocket hit the house? Did Russia attack Lublin region in Poland?
No, it was Polish, either regular missiles or air defense missiles. Most likely air defense missiles. These people want a war. I don't know how else to explain this to people. They want a war. They want a war. And we probably have already memory hold this whole scenario and said either it was an accident that they went over the border, or, the other opinion is that they were done on purpose, that Russia did that on purpose, and Russia wants to invade Poland. Just like we've been saying for the last 2 years, they want to invade. See, guys, look, they want to invade. They want to invade. They want to kill Poles. They're going to take over Europe, guys. They're coming through Belarus. They're coming through Russia. They're coming through Ukraine. They're going to take us over. And then they get their pretty pictures. This is psychotic.
Yeah.
This is psychotic. But this should give people the understanding that we're getting Iranian sanctions. We don't have a choice. We're getting war with Russia. We don't have a choice. Israel is creating its Greater Israel project. We don't have a choice. As soon as people wake up to this stuff, maybe then they'll figure it out what's actually going on and how toxic and terrifying this administration is.
Well, they say he's a man of peace. They say he's
and let's be clear. Trump and Biden have armed the Poles to the teeth in preparation for this. So they know it too. This is not like a European endeavor. It is very much an American endeavor. Poland is now the frontier in front of Russia. Poland is the new Ukraine. And they will destroy it too if they have to. They don't care. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Thailand and Cambodia started war again last night.
I saw that. What was the spark that kicked that off?
Civilians at the border, probably the temples again.
I was just talking to Jerry Gray earlier today. He's a guest on China. And he was talking about how he's like, China is maintaining its calm and peace, but everywhere around China is on fire.
Yeah.
Like Cambodia is on the border. Of course,
Nepal.
the Philippines. Yeah, Nepal. That's another one where the Belt and Road would go through. Like all of these states just so happen, coincidentally, to be on fire at the exact same moment.
And people think Nepal was organic. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's just so bad. I think I wrote a post yesterday. It was like, I was just aggravated with people doxing each other. And I was like, you're not going to do shit. You're going to sit at home and sit behind your computer because that's what you guys always do. And that's what they're going to do this time while they walk us into World War III. Why do you think that Trump has been begging China and Russia to start denuclearization or to decrease their number of nukes? Because a huge war is coming and he is terrified that they're going to use nukes.
But that's so stupid, though. Like
he's stupid. I've given up. Like I was giving this administration the benefit of the doubt. They are stupid. They're either willfully stupid or they feign ignorance because it allows them kind of to do whatever it is that they want to do. But I am 100% 100% positive that Trump is not a smart person. None of the people surrounding him are smart. Maybe Stephen Miller is academically smart, but he's a nutcase. But you know what I mean? Like nobody there is actually a smart person.
Yeah. Agreed. I used to call them dumb as a box of rocks all the time.
They're really bad. It's really, really bad. I don't know how bad people understand how bad it is. Like, I think that the most qualified person in the administration right now is Marco Rubio.
That's terrifying. If that's true, that's terrifying.
Susie Wiles has worked all over the freaking Middle East to get them reelected and to hide human trafficking. And then we wonder why we're not getting Epstein files. Susie Wiles, Pam Bondi, and Kash Patel were all paid to be Qatari lobbyists to hide their human trafficking during the soccer FIFA tournament. And people think that they're the ones going to find out about the Epstein files?
And let's piggyback that with this. Zelensky is losing touch with reality. Now, every so often you get these articles. I think it was Time Life that made the point of saying Zelensky was messianic. He was out of his mind. That he was crazy. Like they just trashed him in that article, right? Like when you call somebody messianic, you're like on another level, right? It's like this guy is in God mode.
It's pretty out there.
And now they just wrote straight out.
Charlie Kirk has taken that place. Charlie Kirk has taken up the Messiah mantle. So Zelensky will have to wait his turn again.
Yeah, Jesus coming to pick him up and taking him to heaven. Yeah. But that's a hell of a headline. Zelensky is losing touch with reality.
I'm sorry, who did you say printed this?
Who did this? Who wrote this article?
Oh, foreign policy. Foreign policy.
Okay, so it is foreign policy. Okay, yeah, that's a hell of a headline. It's hard for anyone to make sense of Ukrainian president's latest military reforms. Well, I think the way to make sense of it is he's getting desperate. Like, I give you an example. In Germany, when the Nazi government was falling, Goebbels wanted to put people in prison for 20 years, 30 years if they listened to British media. Okay, that's desperate. And the quote unquote reforms that Zelensky is passing is also reeks of desperation. Just to do a few of these. Crackdown on soldiers. A draft sought to impose harsh prison terms up to 12 years for desertion and broadly defined insubordination. Protests erupted in Kiev Independence Square with slogans like, quote, army service is not slavery, unquote. Actually, it is. It is just, a flat fact. The measure was quickly withdrawn after backlash, allowing young men to leave. Zelensky allowed men under 22 to leave the country. Instead of relief, Ukrainians reacted with alarm, fearing an exodus of young men that would cripple future mobilizations. And they did get an exodus of young men in that case.
Yeah.
He didn't want those people protesting, so he wanted those people out the country. Political missteps. The misalignment comes on top of humiliations abroad and at home. Zelensky walked into the White House unprepared, only to be sharply scolded by President Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. That was an old one. Triggering mass protests, dubbed the, quote, cardboard revolution, unquote. Zelensky was forced to retreat to save his position. Growing distrust. Of course, there are surveys that are coming out effectively saying that people want the war to be over with. It's over 70%, if not more at this point, even if it means negotiating territory away. Give me your thoughts on this. I mean, he's under pressure in a way that's, many of us can't quite fathom.
It's unraveling. I didn't even think of that that you said, oh, they didn't want those younger people protesting, so they let them leave real quick. That's actually I didn't think of it that way. That's really interesting. But even during then, they weren't letting them leave because the border guard said nobody has communicated that to us. Nobody told us that, even though it was
really.
Yeah, nobody's communicating to these soldiers pushed to the front. So they were like, we didn't know that. Like they were holding people back and sending them back. And where are they going to go? They do not want them in Poland. They do not want them in Belarus.
Mm-mm.
So where
even
are
Hungary,
they go?
they pissed all of these people off. Hungary, Belarus, like none of their neighbors on good
They
terms.
can't go to Hungary. No.
Yeah.
They did. They could in the beginning. They can't anymore.
Not anymore. Slovakia, they
They
pissed
don't have
off.
asylum like we do. You can't just walk into somewhere and declare asylum, especially in the Eastern Europe.
In the very beginning, they were. I mean, like Hungary has a huge, a population of Ukrainians, but they've gotten to the point of saying they need to leave, or they need to get a job, and like all this stuff. They're like, we're sick of paying for you. They pissed all of these countries off. So that's a good question. I don't know where they would go. Maybe other parts of Europe. I don't know. But at the end of the day, those 22-year-olds at some point are going to hit 23, and they are going to be ruthlessly conscripted if the war still continues. When you say it's unraveling, do you mean politically, militarily, or both?
Well, I don't think that politically there's anything to really speak of. I mean, the Rada kind of meets and hangs out and argues. I think that fell apart ages ago. The political, actual machinations of Ukraine. It's kind of just chugging along. So it's obviously the military is unraveling. That's been unraveling for a while. I mean, we're getting feel-good stories about 8 months pregnant women on the front line. Like this is supposed to be some sort of achievement of Western civilization.
Yeah, that was grotesque.
So that shows you how far gone we are. Like that's when we get, how we get the stories about meet this 95-year-old man that works at Walmart. You're like, this is not a feel-good story. Right? Like meet the brave old man that goes to work every day as a Walmart greeter. Like this is not the same thing with the Ukrainian girls. I was like, this is not a feel-good story. This is not a story of achievement.
Yeah. It does seem to be unraveling. It seems that the manpower shortage at this point, the number of desertions, the number of people that have been killed, are taking their toll. And you can see it on the front lines where I was having this conversation with Mark the other day where it's funny. I had Jim Jatras on. Jatras was like, Putin is messing up. And Mark was like, Putin is doing fine.
Mark Sloboda?
Yeah, Mark Sloboda.
Okay, great.
Mark's point of view had to do with this idea that, well, look, they're trying to keep casualties down from the standpoint of the Russian side. And they are moving slowly and inexorably. And the pace at which they're moving is increasing. The strategy is working. There's no point to change the strategy. They believe they could take whatever hits that Ukraine could give and they could prosecute the war. Jatras' thing was a little different. Jatras' point of view was like, put these people out their misery. The longer that this war goes on, the more of an opportunity for some kind of black swan event. Either a false flag or something else that NATO will try to get involved with dirty tricks in order to try to upset the apple cart. And so, meaning the longer you take, the more of an opportunity you give for something else to take place that escalates the war in a way that's unpredictable. And that this slow progress is a way for Putin to turn around and say, okay, are you finished yet? Can we still have negotiations? And his point was, you're never going to get negotiations out of these people. So stop trying. Stop acting like you need.
I'm not sure what Jim's kind of line of thought is here. They're not going to stop. They're not going to meet Russia's demands, even with Russia in the winning driver's seat. They're going to hem and haw and do their theatrics and whine and cry. And then they'll, at the end of the day, while all of that's happening, they'll be bombing each other and something will happen and be like, see, we can't make peace because Russia's mean or something. That's what happens every time. There's like a drone strike or an errant drone hits a target. Or remember the last time they were having peace negotiations and Russia hit a military medal ceremony outside and they like lost their minds and were like, we can't make peace with these people. And it's like, what do you think they were going to do to a ceremony with hundreds of soldiers at it?
Right. Right. It's like, we're going to let these soldiers graduate and go kill Russians.
Yeah, no. We're going to let them them get to the front line first. We'll kill them there. No, why would they do that? Come on.
Yeah. Those people were fair game. They were literally military personnel at that point.
But like that's what happens every time there's some sort of sob story event that happens, and then the Ukrainians say, look, we can't make peace with these people, and then they have to strike back, and then it's like it goes right back to where it was. It's like rinse and repeat these days.
But at some point that military is going to collapse.
Oh yeah.
And it seems the speed at which that collapse is taking place.
I think it's coming. I think it will come within the next year and a half. That's why they're preparing Poland. They got to get Germany ready to go too. I mean, this is really madness if you think about it. It's really just like madness. We're rearming Germany while Russia is a war machine. What could go wrong?
They couldn't even shoot down a drone. Like, let's put that in perspective, right? They couldn't even take down a dummy drone.
Does anybody read history? Like, why are we rearming Germany and Japan?
Yeah, that's terrifying, especially the Germany one. I guess the question becomes, will these governments collapse before?
They gave Japan typhoons. Did you see that?
I did see that. They gave Philippines typhoons.
Like, what?
The U.S. is going to use those countries as sponges.
Yeah.
Like missile sponges. That the way, I forget who described it that way. But effectively, all right, we need you to absorb the missiles that China is going to fire when this kicks off. And it's like, yeah, I guess I can kind of see it. And the same thing with Europe. Europe is going to get fed to the Russians. And they seem to have this fervent belief that the United States will get involved, that they will be forced to get involved if Europe is being eaten alive by the Russian military.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case with what's going on in Israel and how important Asia is. Like, the point right now is to make, it's basically saying, like, Europe, this is your war. You need to take care of your own war. I don't agree with that, but that's what's happening right now. We have our own war in Israel. We're taking care of that. You guys are dipping out on that. You're not doing the weapons that you promised. You got all those protests. We'll take care of the war in Israel. You guys take care of your war in Ukraine. I don't think it's going to work out the way that the Europeans need it to. I don't think that it can. I don't think that we can get involved in the capacity that they would need us to.
Yeah. I mean, it's short of a nuclear war. I mean, like, what, the U.S. is going to put 1 million men in Europe? Is that what we're going to do? And put another 100,000, 200,000 to go after Iran? Is that
Arsenal? Yes, it is the same war, two fronts, but that's they're not really, not that they're not looking at it that way. They can't acknowledge that it is that. Like, the public can't like, the general public can't understand that it's the same front or the same war on two fronts. They can't they won't allow them to. Does that make sense? Because making them interconnected changes the dynamic completely, right? Because right now we have people that are like, oh, I'm pro-Palestine, I'm pro-Ukraine, or I'm this and but if you make people understand why they are the two fronts of the same war, you're going to get a way different understanding of this conflict, and people are going to completely change their ideas about it. They can't have.
At that point, it's a world war. It's just a prelude. It's like the phony war.
I get this question every once in a while on interviews or in spaces. When is World War III going to start? Bitch, what? It started in 2023. Were you awake back then when the Ukrainian counteroffensive failed and the Europeans and the Americans started freaking out? When do I think World War III is going to start? Yesterday when you woke up. Like, what are you talking about?
I would even go back to 2014, the overthrow of the government in Yanukovych. I mean, that's the spark, right?
Just insanity.
Yeah. The attack on Iran, the attack on Qatar.
World War, guys. The history books told me it was like crazy. It happened in like 5 weeks. There were bombs everywhere. We're not in a world war. That's how these people think.
Also, I think they miss too that a lot of the wars that take place are color revolutions now, where it's not
exactly that. Or there are different types of war. There's war for their education system. There's economic war.
Yeah,
there's war. Exactly.
And
the Nepal is another front in this war. The Philippines is another front in this war. Armenia, Azerbaijan is another front in this war. People are not getting it. They're not getting it.
These fires are not being started by coincidence. And there are strategies that are being employed by China with this notion of expansion, with the U.S. taking actions to try to prevent that online expansion, that on-land corridors and whatnot in order to get their goods from point A to point B. No, I agree with you. This is a prelude to a larger conflict. I guess the catch becomes, does the U.S. government collapse before then? Does the European governments collapse before then? If not, this is only going to get worse.
Oh, it's going to get way worse.
Sarah Bils, you are fantastic.
Thanks, guys. I will see you on Sunday. Have a good.
See you on